in the report provided by you.
Yes, that's where it says update for March 8th,
Right on.
2017. Those are the anomalies.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate there isn't a lot of public comment, either pro or con, in regards to this bylaw. But my question surrounds the last statement of that, in that section, which suggests that no further public notification is warranted due to the fact that these are technical clarifications. And I've seen technical clarification. This just seems to me a little bit more than that. It seems there's some substantial changes. One in regards to this not being a ring road and going to, instead of a ring road, which was apparently incorrectly recorded on the bylaw, it was now a 40 meter right of way that's needed. And I'm not trying to argue this one way or the other, but I just want some clarification and perhaps some assurance that we're complying with the Municipal Government Act and with our policies in regards to not putting this back into publication.
I'm not aware that we're in conflict with any policy, and we're certainly not in conflict with the Municipal Government Act. If council wishes to re-advertise the bylaw, I think that's council's call. I don't think there is anybody in terms of directly affected. There's no immediate impact. There isn't, a property right next door. Either way, we're not changing the basic thrust of the bylaw, which is to provide a school site sooner than later. And that's the thrust. The issue was that there was some inadvertent wording around the roadway, and I'm not going to be so presumptuous as to predict what a future transportation study is going to say, but it strikes me as intuitively obvious that Wildflower Road is not going to be the ring road.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Peterson?
I just have one clarification, just in number 3 on page 2 of 3, in the 101.9, you note that the roadway must be to the satisfaction of the approving authority, and for people who aren't used to reading public documents such as this, that means your department.
That means the approving authority.
And
that's
so our goal today is simply to approve this school site and get on with it. And,
yes.
And the rest will come
Yeah.
as the development proceeds.
If I may provide for some further clarification, I think the statement previously was that there could be no direct access to an arterial or collector roadway within a specified distance of the intersection. There's never direct access to an arterial roadway,
Right.
except in extreme situations that are historical.
And I think that you've.
And I think this just makes it links it back to our roadway standards, which are not, and this is sometimes just simply the easiest way to avoid the conflict.
And I think that you make note of that in 3B, so I'm fine with that. Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor Blokeland?
Thank you, Your Worship. Under section 101.7, we're talking about a roadway with a 40 meter right of way.
That's correct.
And then under section 101.8, it narrows down to 36 meters.
That's correct.
I'm a little confused with that.
Well, that's where we arrived at, and I think the issue has been that there was a lack of clarity on that. North of the east-west connector, of course, is the roadway that follows basically the old railway line. If you know where I'm talking about. If I may just go to the map for a second.
Please.
The east-west connector connects Wheatland Trail to Wildflower Road. North of that intersection, it's 40 meters. South of the intersection, as it comes back around,
Okay.
it's 36. And that's part of the issue that was...
I was That explains that. I was just concerned we were gonna have another issue like, I believe, where the Anglican church is in town, where that road gets narrow.
That's
That's not the same.
nowhere near the Anglican Church, no.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No further questions? Before I call for the motion, I'm going to make a comment. Councillor Walls was not here for the public hearing when it was first held. So my understanding, he is not eligible to vote in regards to this, and he will be abstaining. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Your Worship.
I have a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Carried. And next item on our agenda is the council meeting. And I will call the regular council meeting of March the 15th to order. And before we start with the agenda, I'll just make a comment that Councillor Fuel should be here shortly. He has parent-teachers interviews and he's not available. And Councillor Graychuk is in Brooks for the Canadian Badlands Tourism Convention. First item on the agenda is our confirmation of our agenda. And Councillor Sobel, do you have anything to add?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Blokeland?
I have nothing, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Walls?
Your worship, thank you, nothing.
Thank you. Councillor
I have
Peterson?
nothing.
And I have nothing. Does administration have anything?
Your worship, I have something. Under item 14.1 in camera, item pertaining to FOIP section 23 local public body confidences, as well as item 14.2, item pertaining to local public body confidences. And your worship, these must be added as an urgent matter.
Thank you very much.
Your worship, I'd move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Thank you very much. We have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. All in favor? Carried. And before we go any further, must we also do a special motion in regards to those two items? No, thank you. Next item on our agenda is confirmation of the minutes of March the 1st, 2017 regular council meeting.
Your Worship, I would move the minutes of the March 1st, 2017 regular council meeting.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And we need confirmation of the minutes of the March 1st, 22nd public hearing.
So move, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Sobel. We have a motion to accept the minutes of the March 1st, 2017 public hearing. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. First item on our agenda is items from administration, 7.1, Town of Strathmore Memorial Bench and Tree Program. And Mr. McKern, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Great. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Today, the Infrastructure and Operations Department is bringing back the Memorial Bench and Tree Program. It was brought to council a couple weeks ago. We were sent off to investigate some information regarding other community associations and memorial programs that they may run in town. So I won't go through the entire report. I will highlight the changes. So under the discussion item, we've added the paragraph where it says administration spoke to a representative from the Lions Club and Communities in Bloom and confirmed that this policy does not affect their or any other community associations, groups, current or future memorial programs. The representative and the town both expressed their desire to maintain the current methods of communications for such requests, meaning requests from associations about donating memorial benches, memorial programs. They were very happy with the communication between them and the Parks Department, Dave Rhymes, and they'd like to maintain that, and we do too. The intention of this policy is to address requests from members of the public that do not belong or have access to these associations so that they may too participate in a memorial program. Anyone that doesn't participate with a donation through the Lions Club or through any other community group, this provides them the opportunity to, through the town, to purchase and place a memorial bench or tree or something of that nature. And that is the intention of this program. Upon that, we are recommending that council adopt the policy number 7603, Memorial Bench and Tree Program.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I'll entertain.
Just
Go
one
ahead.
quick
Go
one,
ahead,
Your
sir.
Worship. I don't recall ever seeing, and there may have been, I just may have missed it, but I don't recall seeing an appendix when this came to us. Was there an appendix in regards to costs for this program?
In the first presentation?
Yeah, you were gone.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it. Thank you.
Your worship, yes, that appendix will be in the fees bylaw, and that will be coming forward to council at a future meeting.
Thank you very much. No further questions? Councillor Walls,
Your worship, I'm prepared to make a motion if council's ready for it.
we are ready, please.
I'd move the council adopt policy number 7603, Memorial Bench and Tree Program.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is report on the Wildflower Ranch Area Structure Plan Amendment. You have the floor, Mr. Fisher.
Thank you, Your Worship. This basically just deals with the communication gap that occurred prior to the public hearing on March 1st, and staff's commitment to address this issue.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your information on this wholeheartedly. Thank you. And there's a recommendation that council accept this report for information.
I so move that, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And next item on our agenda is the Regional Recreation Facility Fundraising Strategy. Sir, you have the floor.
Good evening, Your Worship and councillors. I last came here December 14th, and council adopted a series of recommendations for a fundraising strategy. Meetings have been occurring over the last several months, and they've included councillors Graycheck and Fuel. The focus to date has been on identifying the equipment and items needed to complete the project that require fundraising, as well as the potential sources for grants, donations, and corporate and private sponsorship. Numerous other facilities in Alberta have obtained financing through corporate naming rights, including the Genesis Centre in Airdrie and buildings in Beaumont and High River, as well as the Repsol Centre, formerly the Talisman Centre in Calgary. The new K-9 school and regional recreation facility tender documents are about to be released, and a public information session will be held on April 10th. In order for fundraising for the project to have a greater opportunity for success, it is recommended that fundraising and sponsorship documents be produced and that the applicable information be available for distribution as soon as possible. If a sponsorship professional can be engaged and begin work on the sponsorship strategy by the end of March, it is intention to bring the recommended sponsorship parameters back to the April 5th council meeting. Therefore, there's a couple of recommendations, one being that the naming rights to the regional recreation facility be contracted to a professional to seek the best possible market price for the sponsorship of the facility, and further, that the fundraising strategy adopted by council on December 14th, 2016, currently being implemented by staff and the fundraising committee members, be augmented by a professional consultant to ensure that the sponsorship donation assets are comprehensive, the administrative documents are developed, and the best value is received by the town. And further, that in order to align the tendering process and the subsequent availability of the sponsorship and donation packages with both the release date of the project tender documents and the April 10th public open house, that CAO James Thackeray, in consultation with council representatives Councillor Pat Fuel and Councillor Steve Graychuck, be authorized to award the contract to the successful proponent. And that concludes my presentation, and pleased to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions?
Just one note, I know Councillor Fuel and Graychuck are not here at the present time, but I did go over this memorandum when I did prepare it, so they were in concurrence with its contents.
And I will say that I totally support Councillor Fuel and Councillor Graychuck signing it because they are the work behind it, and they deserve the credit.
They certainly do.
So I see no questions. Then I will take a motion.
Your Worship, I'd move the first motion as indicated on the request for decision. I think I'd split these in two. So we go with the first in regarding the naming rights, And unless council wishes, I'm not going to repeat that. It's exactly as written in the
And
request.
if I may just sort of correct myself, it says recommendation on here. Should this be just as a recommendation or as a motion?
Motion.
As a motion, thank you.
I so move, Your Worship.
Thank you. So the first motion is that the naming rights to the regional recreation facility be contracted to a professional to seek best possible market price for the sponsorship of the facility. No further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Sobel?
And I would also move the second part of that recommendation pertaining to aligning the tendering process and the subsequent availability of the sponsorship and donation packages.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is the Community Investment Fund Review Committee. Ms. Simpson, you have the floor.
Thank you. So the Community Investment Fund Review Committee met on March 6th to review the 6 submitted applications. Tonight I'll be providing you with a brief overview of each application and our recommendations. So the first application was from the newly formed Strathmore Disc Golf Club. They're planning to host their second annual MB Open Tournament on July 1st to 2nd. The event will take place along the Strathmore Disc Golf Course, and they're currently in the process of applying for sanctioning through the Professional Disc Golf Association. The event is open to all ages and all skill levels, and they're expecting an approximately 100 to 150 participants. They've requested $5,000 to cover supplies, participant giveaways, equipment rentals, and advertising. The committee reviewed the application and found it fit all program criteria, are recommending the full $5,000 donation. Second application was from the Western District Historical Society, who are hosting a history celebration during Seniors Week on June 9th at the Strathmore Legion. This luncheon will be a soft launch of their On This Spot app. They will be providing the lunch participants with a demo and a virtual walkthrough of the app being developed for Strathmore. They have requested $5,000 to cover food, entertainment, building rental, and printing costs. The committee reviewed the application and found it fit the majority of the program criteria, and based on the submitted budget, they are recommending funding of $2,500 to support the entertainment, printing, and building rental costs. The third application was from Strathmore Minor Hockey, who will be hosting the 2017 Hockey Alberta Midget A Provincial Championships on March 23rd to 27th at the Strathmore Family Centre. Their successful bid of this event will bring 10 teams from across the province with an anticipated audience of over 1,000 people over 4 days. The event will attract local media as well as potential regional and Calgary media. They've requested $15,000 of in-kind support to cover the cost of the rental facilities. The committee reviewed the application and found that while it filled the majority of the program criteria, it did lack access for participation beyond spectating to a wide audience, meaning that only one local Strathmore team participates, and the rest of the participation in the event is strictly audience-based. The committee also reviewed the rental contracts for the Family and Civic Centre and are recommending support of 50% of the rental costs, totaling $3,952.55. Celebration of Lights submitted a request for $15,000 for their 2017-2018 Christmas park. Their application was missing some elements, including their detailed budget, which is required for the committee to do a full review, and they're therefore recommending that they resubmit for our June intake so we can evaluate it properly. The United Church of Strathmore submitted a request for $5,000 for their grand piano purchase. The grand piano, once purchased, would be used by the church and community for concert series, music lessons, special events, and a local choir use. While the committee acknowledges the importance of the fine arts and the need for the grand piano, the application is not being recommended based on 2 points. One, that churches are ineligible under the CIF policy, as well as capital projects are not eligible under the policy. The final application came from the Wheatland Society of Arts, who submitted a request for $15,000 for their new All in Arts program. This is a 5-step program offered throughout the year to inspire and engage youth ages 8 through 17 in the visual arts. program includes camps, monthly programs, and a youth art exhibit. Again, while the committee acknowledges the importance of the program, it is not being requested at this time, as it is project-based and not event-based, which is the mandate of the CIF program. While the committee is not recommending funding at this time, we do recommend that the town consider funding this project from other sources. So all recommendations are listed at the top of your report, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much. Councillor Peterson?
I just wanted to commend administration and support for putting the CIF funding process in place. It's been a great help to council and
Welcome.
and clearly is causing some more work for you, but certainly is a great service to community. I'm prepared to move the motion.
Okay, good. I'm just wondering, would it be, I'm just wondering whether or not we want to do them individually, or do we have an agreement that we can do them all at once? And before I do that, Councillor Sobel, did you have something?
I just had a quick question, and I think it was somewhat answered already by Tracy, but, and obviously your response to in regards to celebration of lights and lack of budget was something that I was going to raise, and obviously that's an integral part of the process is a detailed budget, because of course we're not seeing that. All we're seeing is the amount and the approval recommendation and the fact that it was reviewed. So that application process does come with a detailed budget application.
And we did reach out to the applicant, and they just didn't have time to get it in by this deadline.
Yeah,
So
I was
thank
more
you.
concerned about the whole process itself in
No,
general
we
rather than that, but thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The way I see it written up here, we'll do individual motions then? Go ahead, Ms. Watzke.
Your worship, under the recommendation in the report, would be the best
Thank you.
way to move.
So I'll take individual motions for each item. Councillor Peterson.
I would move that council approve the following funding through the Community Investment Fund, $5,000 to the MB Open Disc Golf Tournament, and $2,500 to the Western District Historical Society Historic Celebration, and that council recommend to the WDHS that the history event be open to the entire community. Do you want me to keep going? That's it,
No,
eh,
no,
for that
stop
one?
there. Good, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Next item, next motion, please.
I would move that council approve a 50% in-kind donation of facility rentals for the 2017 Midget A provincial tournaments, not to exceed $3,952.55.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. And?
Keep going.
Keep
The
going, Councillor
council
Peterson.
request further information from the Celebration of Lights, including a detailed budget and supporting documents for review at the June 5th, 2017 CIF Review Committee meeting, and that's the deadline, right? So at the June 5th, 2017 deadline for CIF Review Committee meetings.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried.
And the council direct administration to draft a letter of regret to the United Church denying their application for funding under the CIF program.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
And the council direct administration to consider funding for the Wheatland Society of the Arts, All in Arts, outside the Community Investment Fund program.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Walls?
Your worship, to administration, I'm not sure if this is a Jennifer question or a Tracy question, but on the letters that are for the people that are unsuccessful, are you going to explain why they're okay, perfect, thank you.
Yes.
So, we have, you've got the last motion down, yes. We have a motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried, thank you.
Huge
And
work, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is the Strathmore Canada 150 Celebration Plan, and who will be bringing that forward?
I will be.
Thank you very much, Ms. Simpson, you have the floor.
So on behalf of the Canada 150 our Planning Committee, we're bringing forward a Canada 150 celebration plan for 2017. So over the past 6 months, the committee has been meeting monthly to discuss how Strathmore can get involved in the celebrations. The committee has partnered with a number of organizations that are represented around the table every month, and we're collaborating to host a number of events and programs throughout the year. provide you with a brief overview of some of those events and some details on the events we're proposing for the town. As you heard in the previous report, the Western District Historical Society is hosting a Seniors Week historical celebration to launch their On This Spot app. This is a great tie-in with the Canada 150 theme, as it will showcase Strathmore's history as well as Strathmore today. This event won't have any financial implications with the 150 committee, but will be promoted and celebrated through our group. The committee is also partnering with the ministerial organization to host a Sunday family picnic on July 2nd in Kinsman Park. The old-time picnic will include old fair games, entertainment, and maybe a pie auction. They are proposing partnering with local restaurants and food trucks to provide at a cost prepackaged picnic baskets and education programs around what to put in a picnic basket. The big event that the committee is proposing to council today is the Battle of the Bands and the community concert. The Battle of the Bands will be a 6-week event showcasing 36 local and regional bands in partnership with a local establishment in town. The finals will feature the top 6 bands who will be judged by local judges and will be held at the Strathmore and District Agricultural Society grounds in conjunction with the community concert on the weekend of August 25th to 27th. The winner of the Battle of the Bands will get to open for a headliner on the Saturday, the 26th. The proposed budget for Battle of the Bands is $3,000 to help cover equipment costs and judges' expenses. For the for the concert portion, the committee has been in contact with an artist named Tyler Shaw. He's an up-and-coming Canadian country artist, and he is available for Saturday, August 26th. A bit of information about Tyler, if you've never heard of him. His newest single is called House of Cards, and he was certified gold in 2015. He was the Juno breakout artist in 2014, and he toured with an artist named Selena Gomez in 2016 on our Canadian Stadium tour. Additionally, we've been talking to a local artist named Lindsay Butler, who would be able or available to do an opening act on that same day. Partnerships have been formed with the Strathmore Ag Society as well as Golden West Broadcasting, who are both supportive of the event and providing in-kind contributions to the event. The total budget for the concert is just over $60,000 with a minimum profit projection, most likely a break-even budget. Expenses will be offset with revenues from sponsorship, grants, and in-kind donations, and ticket sales. The goal of the committee is to keep ticket sales low, $25 to $30, so that it is affordable for everyone in the community. The committee has applied for a $15,000 grant from the Community Funds for Canada's 150 birthday through the Calgary Community Foundation, which we should be hearing about shortly. We've also secured a cash donation for prize money for the winning Battle of the Band artist and an advertising commitment from Golden West Broadcasting to match our advertising purchases dollar for dollar. Proposed budget is included and a full event report is provided. And finally, throughout 2017, the committee is proposing attending community events such as the Newsy Neighbor Downtown Get to Know Your Neighbor Festival, Canada Day, Heritage Days, or Strathmore Stampede, to sell Strathmore 150 merchandise. Following the success of the design of the Canada 150 logo for Strathmore, the committee would like to use this logo on a selection of merchandise to sell throughout the year. Again, the cost would be kept affordable so that everyone can afford a commemorative item, and all items be sold at a minimum profit to offset some of the program costs. In conjunction with this program, we want to propose to council the idea of a commemorative medallion or item for all graduates of 2017. A small item at a cost of $5 per graduate would be a great keepsake for everyone graduating in 2017. So the committee is requesting $15,000 in funding to help kickstart the proposed ideas for the Canada 150 celebrations. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Thank you very much, Ms. Simpson. Questions? Councillor Walls.
Thank you, Your Worship, to the manager. Are you currently looking for more members to join this committee? I've heard that you are, but I just want to make sure. I want to get the actual truth here.
Absolutely. If we have anyone in town who's interested in helping plan some events and bringing them forward, we're always looking for more members.
Okay, thank you.
No further questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Sorry, Your Worship, just one quick, I don't know if it's a comment or a question, but with the relationship we're having with the ag grounds and the what are we calling it? The big band, the community concert is what we're
Right.
calling it. That would be something that could go rain or shine.
Yeah, absolutely, depending on how bad it rains.
That's a given.
It actually mostly blows.
Yeah.
If they deem that it's unsafe for the stage
Certainly.
to be set up, obviously, we'd have to reevaluate. But the benefits of doing it in the grandstand is it is covered. And I would mention that the Ag Society is looking for ways that they can enhance this weekend and looking at different events they can bring in from their end to augment the weekend.
And the question I might ask is, there seems to be a lot of events going on for the Canada 150. Is there some sort of listing of all of the different events that are happening in our town?
Not yet.
Not
No.
yet. I thought there was some
Well, we have a
information.
community events listing, absolutely. It doesn't
Okay.
include any of the Canada 150 events as they haven't been approved yet. But we developed a brochure this year listing all town of Strathmore major, not town of Strathmore, but community events. You can pick it up at town facilities.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll accept the motion, please. Councillor Sobel?
Be happy to. I move the council support the Canada 150 Committee proposed celebration plan and approve $15,000 to be used for concert deposits and merchandise purchases and to be funded through the financial stabilization.
Thank you. No further discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Well done.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Pass on our thanks to your committee.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is bylaw 1702 Wildflower Ranch Area Structure Plan.
Your worship.
Yes,
Thank
Councillor
you.
Walsh.
I wish to be excused.
He doesn't need to be excused, does he? He's just going to be abstaining, so you can stay. Yeah, no, you can stay. Go ahead, sir.
Just for the record, the vote is not an abstention. Councillor Walls would remove himself from the vote.
That's the best way to do it?
Otherwise, if he's at the table, he would be considered to be voting in the affirmative.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. And I guess, Mr. Fisher, if you would like to come forward, because we have to do reading of the bylaw for second and third reading, just in case there is some further questions, please. I appreciate this.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have some questions?
Ready with the motion, your worship?
Please, I'll take the motion.
I move that council give second reading to bylaw 17-02 as amended.
Thank you very much. No discussion? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Peterson.
Your worship, should the lead-in to the motion be made just because there will be changes coming in? Like the subject to consideration of the information provided? Should that be included as part of the motion?
I think it's already in there. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, it's part of the report, and so the motion on the table would be moving second as amended.
Oh, fine,
Right.
thank you.
And it's second reading, so all in favor of second reading? Carried, thank you. Councillor Peterson?
I would move that council give third reading to bylaw number 17-02.
Thank you. We have a motion for third reading of bylaw number 17-02. No discussion. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And I guess we can ask Mr. Councillor Walls to come back. And if they're, let the record show that Councillor Walls has returned. Next item on our agenda is from Planning and Development, proposed land use bylaw redesignation from M2 to M1, 60 Slater Road. Mr. Proctor, you have the floor.
Good evening, everybody. So this is an application that the town has received to rezone 60 Slater Road from M2 to M1. They want to do a brewery on this site. Staff kind of support this bylaw for a couple reasons. The M2 is the heaviest district, and the M1, we've been working with the M1 district in the past to have small breweries and this kind of thing. It's just first reading before you tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll take a motion for first reading.
Your worship, I move the council give first reading to bylaw number 17-04.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Your Worship, I'd further move that council hold a public hearing for bylaw 1704 on Wednesday, April 19th, 2017.
Thank you very much. We have a motion for public hearing to be held for bylaw 1704 on Wednesday, April 19th, 2017. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Proctor. And next is bylaw number 1705, fees bylaw amendment bylaw. Community, you have the floor, sir.
Good evening, Your Worship, councillors. Thank you. Before you today is the request for approval of bylaw 1321, Schedule M. This is a fees, rates, and charges bylaw pertaining specifically to fire and protective services. Under review, this is the first amendment of the bylaw since 2014. And what we're recommending is to look at enhancing our ability to provide technical response and advice, best safety practices, public education materials to business and organizations that we are able to or required to provide public life safety inspections in the community. We feel that there are elements of the existing bylaw that are prohibitive of that and can be restrictive. And so some of the examples that I provide is our inability for business to request support or assistance, therefore creating unsafe business practices where we would have the technical advice and the ability to provide that support. Safety inspections requested by businesses would be eliminated because of due to the fees. And also our inability to do enhanced inspections on identified businesses where there are higher hazards, older buildings, or different elements of risk that we feel we would be able to support business owners, managers, and property managers. So looking at the highest risk buildings in the community and being able to be supportive. That is my narrative for council consideration, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much. No questions? I'll take a motion.
Your Worship, I would move that council approve the recommendation to amend bylaw 13-21, Schedule M, as presented.
Thank you.
Your Worship,
Yes.
sorry, Your Worship, you'd have to give 3 separate readings to bylaw 1705.
First,
Which is in the bylaw. If council wishes to accept the recommendations, they can do that as well, but you have to give 3 readings
I
to
thought,
1705.
but we accept the recommendation first and then go to the bylaws, correct? Or the other way around?
Your Worship, it's not necessary to accept the recommendations, as giving 3 readings to the bylaw would be doing that.
You just put that in to mess us up.
Yes.
Thanks. So, Your Worship, I would move first reading of bylaw
1705.
1705. Thank you.
Discussion? No, that's first reading. We have a motion for first reading of bylaw 1705. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Your Worship, I'd move the council give second reading to bylaw 1705.
We have a motion for second reading of bylaw 1705. All in favor?
Your Worship, I
You
wish
can do it on
to-
third.
Okay, never mind
Do it
that.
on third. Unless you have questions.
I do have a question, but that's okay.
Okay. We have second reading for bylaw 1705. All in favor? Carried. And we have to do the unanimous.
Your Worship,
Council.
I'd move the council give unanimous consent to bylaw 1705, fees amendment bylaw.
Thank you. We have a motion for unanimous consent for bylaw 1705. All in favor? Carried. Go ahead, sir.
And Your Worship, I'd move the council give third and final reading to bylaw 1705, fees amendment bylaw. And wish to ask a question, Your Worship.
Please.
Chief, just going through this here again, so the changes are just in yellow, or is there additional changes you've made to this sheet?
From the previous bylaw, Your Worship, through to Councillor, from the previous bylaw, there are some significant changes. So the previous bylaw is attached. Some of the highlights, if you would like.
Please.
In the recovery cost, the cost recovery element, it identifies no charge for emergency response for the first 2 hours. That's a significant change. In the past, it's been as long as it takes and as much money as it costs to deal with emergency situations. The other element in here is with the signed agreements, using the Alberta Transportation guidelines and rates as opposed to the ones that were previously identified. I was not able to determine how those fees were achieved in the past, and this is a far less painful way based on a provincial fee structure.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Deputy Mayor Blokeland?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair to the chief. I thought I asked this question the last time you were in front of us. Fire inspections.
Yes, sir.
Am I reading this right? They're going to be $75?
First, initial inspections are not, there are no charge. So, fire safety inspections for licensing, sir, where we have a business that requires an inspection for their licensing, which they then pass on to the Alberta Health or any of the other provincial regulatory bodies for their business, we will be charging for those.
Okay, so then just a basic normal yearly fire inspection.
No fee.
No fee. Good, thank you.
Thank you very much. I will accept a motion.
Your Worship,
Oh,
we already moved.
We've already moved it. You're right. I'm glad somebody keeps me on task. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your report. Yes.
Can you please ask?
Next item on our agenda is question period, and Councillor Peterson, I'm going to start with you.
I have a question. We have lots of youth in our audience today. I was just wondering, did some misguided teacher make you come? Who would do such a thing?
Our teachers over at state.
Good. Welcome.
Well, welcome, yes.
We are so happy to have you here to, this may not have been the best example in regards to what we can do at a council meeting, but we're so happy to have you here to see municipal government at work.
And you've just attended the shortest meeting we've ever had.
You're welcome.
And hopefully someday down the road, you'll remember this and somebody will say, we need somebody to run for council.
And we always
hopefully-
need that.
Yeah, we always need. But it gives you an opportunity to find out what government at a local level is about. And it's so important to have the people come out and find out what's going on in the community. So thank you very much for being here. Councillor Walls?
I just have one
Oh,
more thing, Your
go
Worship,
ahead.
and that is that I was visiting at the Seniors Lodge, and they asked me to pass on to council that they are deeply grateful for the pictures of the veterans and the fallen soldiers, and they spoke eloquently and long about how much it meant to them, and that if it were ever possible, that this should come again. They felt that this was a great use of their tax dollars, and again, they were very grateful to the Legion and to council. Thank you, Roger.
And thank you to our seniors for all they've done in our community over their lifetime. Did you have something, Councillor Walls?
I do, Your Worship. Just, well, the Director of Infrastructure and Operations is here. Your Worship. I was just driving down Thomas Drive, and I was just noticing it's starting to pool up again. Just wondering if that's normal, if we can expect that, or are we going to start expecting the same problems we were encountering last year with it starting to crack and so forth?
Please.
Regarding Thomas Drive, through the chair, I would say I'd have to check it out first, of course, but I would comment that the first initial thaw of the year, generally our catch basins need a minute to catch up, and that potentially could be the problem, but that's just a guess. I haven't looked at it today.
And Your Worship, if I may continue while the director's here, if you could please extend a sincere thank you to your park staff, your parks and public works staff. They've been exceptional on out there and cleaning streets, and I've really noticed it downtown, and just really want to say thank you very much.
Great. I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Blokeland, do you have a question?
Yes, Your Worship, just a statement, actually. As I will be out of town from March 19th to approximately April 19th inclusive, I will miss the April 5th council meeting, the April 12th council of the whole meeting, and possibly the April 19th council meeting. During my absence, Councillor Graycheck will take over my duties as deputy mayor.
And I will check with administration. Do we need to make a motion?
Your Worship, it would be advisable, yes.
Thank you. So,
Your Worship, I'll make that motion.
okay, Councillor Walls has made a motion that while Deputy Mayor Blokeland is away, Councillor Graycheck will be assuming the duties of deputy mayor. We have a motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Any further questions, Deputy Mayor?
No, thank you.
No? Okay. Councillor Sobel?
I have nothing to respond.
And I have a question, if I might. I've received a couple of letters from Municipal Affairs. One is in regards to MSI grant for the Regional Recreation Facility construction, where they've given us $2 million. And the next one is for three projects from Municipal Affairs for MSI grants for wastewater clarifier upgrade, $300,000, Strathmore Family Center upgrade for $200,000, and Brent Boulevard improvement for $250,000. And my question is to administration. I'm wondering, will these projects be started in 2017? Have they started? Where are we with these projects?
If I may,
Please.
through the chair, I would ask the Director of Operations to respond on the clarifier. I could not answer that question. Could you answer that question, please, Bryce? Thank you.
Maybe a refresher on the three, please.
Well, one is a recreation facility, which is the one that we're doing with the school, I do believe, with
Yeah, correct.
in Golden Hills
That-
and Wheatland County.
That I can respond to.
Please.
We're still anticipating groundbreaking within the next few weeks. There are still some very small issues with AT with the project, but it's still moving ahead.
Thank you. Next item is the wastewater clarifier upgrade,
That project was completed in 2016.
and they're just paying us now.
No, they're just announcing it.
They're just
They're just
announcing,
announcing
yeah, they're
it
just
now, okay.
announcing it now, but it was, that project was identified late 2015 and completed in 2016.
Thank you. Strathmore Family Center upgrade? 200,000.
Oh, yes.
I guess I should have sent this out ahead of time. I'm sorry.
So I believe that funding is going to the plant rebuild, which is currently in a tendering process.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going forward. Okay, and the next one is Brent Boulevard improvement, 250,000.
And that project was also completed in 2016.
Super. Thank you very much. Those are my questions. Does administration have any questions for us? Seeing none. Okay, thank you. So the next item on our agenda then would be to go in camera. No?
Your Worship, we still have administrative inquiries under Section 13.
I don't have anything listed here. So, do we have any administrative inquiries?
Yes, we do, Your Worship.
Okay.
Just for information, administrative inquiries are submitted just prior to the meeting. We have 4 inquiries, Your Worship. The first is from Councillor Graychuck. His inquiry is, can administration please provide an update on when the Canadian Badlands sign will be installed? The The second is from Councillor Sobel. It reads, one of the projects identified by the Sustainability Committee is to conserve water when and where possible. At present, the egg grounds ball diamonds are being watered by potable water. Councillor Graychuk, as part of the Sustainability Committee, has done some investigation and is in the opinion that there is an abandoned portable water line built in the 80s that runs from the Brentwood irrigation pump house to the aforementioned ball diamonds. With some effort and cost, it is his opinion that this would be a viable project. The goal, of course, is that the ball diamonds could be watered with WID canal water rather than potable water. The Sustainability Committee is inquiring as to whether administration can conduct an investigation into this line and determine the feasibility of using this abandoned water line to water the egg ground ball diamonds. Third is also from Councillor Sobel. It says, one of the projects of the Council Sustainability Committee is to increase our community's use of composting, thus reducing our dependence on landfills. The committee is very much looking forward to our Canada Day celebrations, which will no doubt attract many people and a great deal of food to our Kinsman Park site. The committee is inquiring as to whether administration is contemplating any type of composting program for this year's Canada Day celebration. And lastly, from Councillor Sobel, one of the projects identified by the Sustainability Committee is to conserve water when and where possible. After making a number of inquiries, it has come to the attention of the committee that the town's policy during summer months is to fill a water truck with potable water and then use this water to irrigate trees and flowers. Inquiries also appear to suggest that the town pays a flat fee to the Western Irrigation District, which allows the town access to the canal water. Our inquiry focuses on whether it is possible, with the aid of a pump, to fill the aforementioned water trucks with canal water rather than potable for the watering of trees and flowers.
Thank you very much. And so then you will respond back once the information is in.
Yes, Your Worship, and maybe a point of clarification or from Councillor Sobel, for those inquiries, would you like the answer to come back to council or to come back to council as a memo outside of a regular council meeting?
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'd love to get those back in public at a future public meeting. Thank you.
Your Worship, if council is ready to accept a motion, I'm prepared to make one.
Thank you.
I'd move
I'll just check with administration to make sure that we've got our agenda clear. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Walz.
Your Worship, I move the council go in camera at 6:56 p.m. to discuss matters under FOIP Section 23.
Thank you very much. We have a motion to go in camera. All in favor? Carried.